Hey, so we're live.
Oh, hi, Dean. How you doing? It's good to see you again, Dean. Hi, guys. Sit down.
So I have my good friend Canada's here, Canada 51. And you know what? We were talking about how a lot of people don't like you, right? And because you have a strong personality or you're very forceful in your opinion. But Jesse, I think I know what it is. I think I know why people don't like you. Ready?
Algebra?
Yeah, I'll see you there.
You're awful!
The preceding joke was brought to you by Men.
Men, we don't know what we did.
It's 9
Yeah. I don't know why they don't like you. But hey, that comes with the territory when you discuss topics like the JWs have a dumb spirit of Mark 9:25.
Oh, Gilbert, territory? Like our 51 states up there?
Yeah. I think it's a good thing. Winning. So I wanted to show you this, Jesse. We were talking about how when Jehovah's Witnesses are out there in the street and they're just standing dumb with their carts. And Jesus says, when he saw the people came running together, he rebuked the unclean spirit, saying to it, deaf and dumb spirit, deaf and dumb, I command you, come out of him and enter in him no more. The deaf and dumb spirit. So the point I'm trying to make is that you have to accept, when you come to accept the reality that we have a lot of spirits, right? There's a happy spirit, an angry spirit, and the list is great. Well, amongst those spirits lies a deaf and dumb spirit, a very dumb spirit. And the Jehovah's Witnesses have that spirit. Why do you think they have that spirit, Jesse?
Well, you know what? I think, Gilbert, that some people would say, well, listen, deaf would be no hearing and dumb would be no speaking. But we're interpreting it different because we're Canadians.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody ever accused us of being smart. Anyways, so we're going to use the literal 2025 interpretation of dumb, not as a mute, but as a dumb, like no brains north of the border, above the 51st parallel, whatever. Anyways, so, and that's what we're thinking that our Jehovah's Witness brothers have become. For example, I think it's gotten worse since Anthony Morris left. And the Jehovah's Witnesses are taking more the persona of Stephen Lett.
Okay.
Just flat out.
Think about it. We're not born as friends of God because we're born as sinful offspring of Adam. Actually, we think about it, we're born as enemies of God. Sometimes you'll hear people say of a little baby, look at that little angel. But more accurate would be to say, look at that little enemy of God.
So he kicks out Anthony Morris.
And I think there's also a scripture that talks about when you get rid of one evil spirit, what happens to that person?
Well, I thought you might say that. And in Matthew 12, I think it is, when an unclean spirit goes out of a man, he goes through dry places, seeking rest and finds none. Then he says, I will return to my house from which I came. And then he comes, he finds it empty, swept, and put in order. Then he goes and takes with him 7 other spirits, more wicked than himself, and they enter and dwell there. And the last state of the man is worse than the first. So shall it also be with this wicked generation.
So I think what's happening is here, what I'm trying to say is that, and I think you got some pictures, huh?
Oh, we'll talk about that in a little bit, yeah. Huh?
Yeah. Illustrate that our brothers have taken on the persona of Stephen Lett, the way they talk, the cadence, the megahertz, whatever you want to call it. You know, remember, and you used to talk about this. I remember maybe 25 years ago, almost 30, when there was a young brother in our congregation. He goes, Hermano. And he would talk like Stephen Lett 30 years ago.
Mhm.
And then he goes, this is an apple. And he literally sounded like a dumb demon, a dumb down person. And he came from Bethel. From Bethel. He learned how to speak stupid, not jive. You remember in airplane, they go, stewardess, I speak jive. The Jehovah's Witnesses don't speak jive. They speak stupid.
Mhm.
They speak like Stephen Lett. And I told you back then, they're trying to copy. When we first saw Stephen Lett, I go, hey, Gilbert, they're trying to talk like Stephen Lett.
Mhm.
So I think what we're seeing is we're seeing the strong spirit of Stephen Lett that possesses him is being translated to that religion. I don't think it would have happened so much with Anthony Morris. Now, Anthony Morris wasn't dumb.
Mm-mm.
He was just stupid. It was different. We're talking about a dumb spirit.
So let's go back again. So Jesus says, when an unclean spirit, aka Tony Morris. So Anthony Morris is an unclean spirit, and he leaves the Watchtower. And Watchtower goes and it goes through dry places and seeks rest. But then it says here, I will return to my house from which I came, and when the spirits return, he finds it empty, swept, and put in order. Then he goes out and takes 7 other spirits more wicked than himself, and they enter and dwell there. And the last state of the man is worse than the first. So shall it also be with this wicked generation. So Anthony Morris is booted out, and look at the type of governing body members they're replacing him with.
Metrosexuals,
Mhm.
feminized versions of men.
Mhm.
They're not masculine men in any shape of the imagination. These are not alpha males. They're alpha in their beta.
Mhm.
These are the beta males of the worst kind.
Mhm.
And Stephen Lett, I mean, we're talking about a very dumbed down spirit. Do you remember when he said, this is the last days of the last days, shortly before the last day of the last days?
Mhm.
This is what we're talking about. A stupidity so great. And it's showing in the pictures
Mhm.
that we're seeing of the Jehovah's Witnesses out there preaching in their carts and in their social media posts all over the planet.
So think about it. So the Jehovah's Witnesses, under leadership, a previous leadership, would have their sales force go door to door, going, converting people to Bible study, and boom, boom, boom. And then the new leadership comes in, Stephen Lett, the dumb spirit, and they don't even engage in conversation. They stand there in the corner. They don't
Like
go
mutes.
like mutes, dumb and deaf spirits. Just like Jesus says in Mark 9, in that Bible text that we showed. And so from a sales, so if you were a CEO of a sales organization, you had a sales force and you replace it with this current sales force, that's stupid. It's like you wanting to say, I want to make some money, I want to be a salesman. And so of all the places that you choose to sell, like I was telling you earlier today, you chose Sears. You want to go work at a Sears outlet store, selling appliances. How are you going to make money? No one's walking in the door, right? You would have to pick someplace else. These people have sunk to the lowest. I mean, just thinking it from a sales perspective, they're trying to sell their religion, because that's what they are, right? Selling their magazines. They have dropped to the dumbest form of marketing, salesmanship, execution. If I was a shareholder, a major shareholder, I would be yelling and screaming, saying, "Who the hell's driving this vehicle?"
But remember in Seinfeld, we always talk about it, but suddenly a contender.
Mhm.
And there's something about the Jehovah's Witness technique that, like the P.T. Barnum said, and we talked about it last week, that there's a sucker born every minute. So I guess the deaf and dumb spirit that has infested Watchtower, it's very contagious with a lot of people. The stupider you are, the dumber you are, it attracts a lot of people. People who are low. Right now in the news, we're hearing a lot of people talk about low IQ people. And the Jehovah's Witnesses are a superficial cult. You know, the women, they have to have nice boobies, a nice face, a nice dress. They all look hot, exceptionally hot in their pictures. But there's nothing in between the ears.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot accuse a Jehovah's Witness. You can accuse them a lot of things, like false predictions. You can accuse them of CSA. What else can you cover ups?
Financial.
You cannot accuse them of being intelligent.
Yeah,
that is something that intelligence and Jehovah just don't mix. Jehovah's Witnesses just doesn't mix. You can't accuse a Jehovah's Witness of being intelligent.
Mm-hmm.
And it shows in their social media posts. And I think we're going to do some pictures in a little bit.
Yeah. Here's the clip that you were referring to.
Respect. For I am Costanza, Lord of the Idiots. But suddenly a new contender has emerged.
A new contender. So you're saying that's what's happening here?
Yes. A new contender has emerged. And the witnesses. And there's nothing that could stop the Jehovah's Witnesses, because there is a sucker born every minute. Now, one of the interesting things is that the religion, one of the things we've noticed, and I think a lot of the apostates are talking about it, is that in the United States and in the 51st state in Canada too, I don't know, there's a lot of dumb people in Canada. So the Jehovah's Witnesses might be growing in Canada. Yeah.
And Puerto Rico.
And Mexico. But in the United States, they've kind of met their laws of diminishing returns. There's so many suckers that they could get in the lower 50 states. I'm not counting the 51st state, Canada.
Let's talk about how dumb they are with Imagine Paradise with artificial intelligence. So these people, this is the marketing campaign of the Jehovah's Witness. So what are we looking at, Jesse?
Wow. Look at that picture. And look at this, Gilbert. Look at the 5 o'clock shadow on this guy. This is a Jehovah's Witness. This is a Facebook post that the Jehovah's Witnesses, they plaster. It's all over the. And this is what he posts. This is what their view, you describe it. And now there's a website out there that Jehovah's Witnesses can subscribe on different pages, and they can do what is called Paradise Imagination. Now imagine this, Paradise Imagination. I, of all people, try to go in there, but somehow it wouldn't allow me to do it. So I just take pictures of stuff that they put out, but it wouldn't let me. I try to crash it, like a reporter's crashing a secret society meeting, and it wouldn't let me. So I just took pictures of different pictures that they had. These are all Jehovah's Witness posts. So this is how they imagine their spiritual paradise.
Now, on this one, they have a Bible, right, in paradise, and he's teaching the resurrected one. That's what they're trying to say. But he has a tablet.
Yes.
There's no power lines going to that house. So how is he charging it? Maybe, and there's no there's no solar panels.
So this is a picture that they think they're in paradise. This is what they're imagining paradise is going to be like. And it's a total delusion. Look at the black guy, and then look at the guy with the red hair. So they're trying to show that it's a very inclusive religion. So they're imagining the most inclusive organization, almost a spiritual DEI.
And this is the Jehovah's Witness rock concert at the.
They're envisioning that they're at a get together.
But look at that right there. You see that circle right there I'm doing right there?
Yeah.
That is one big ass house. That is one big ass house for a religion that preaches not to be what? Materialistic.
I think that's Toni Morris's condo.
Okay.
And Selena Verdelomo, she cuts the grass.
There. So for them living in paradise, somebody sure is materialistic there, Going back, they're all playing the Congos. Now, here's the thing on artificial intelligence, when it is these facials, this woman's missing a couple teeth, and the faces are done like this on purpose. They're just so nobody goes and touches them up. If this comes from Watchtower or something, you think you'd touch it up a little bit, but yeah. So you have the blonde lady, the blonde baby, the white people are there.
So they're representing all of mankind. So the
Yeah.
Jehovah's Witnesses, this is what they're doing. Let's say that you are in court and you're a lawyer,
Mm-hmm.
and you have a witness that is stupid or has been affected by that dumb spirit that you talk about. Chances are you're not going to put him on the stand, because they're going to be a false witness. They're going to be a bad witness. And that's what's happening to the Jehovah's Witnesses. They're giving testimony of Jehovah, but I tell them when I go on their page and I leave a comment, I go, they're giving a bad testimony of Jehovah. They're giving Jehovah a bad name because they're retarded now. They're delusional, all of them. And some of the pictures are more delusional than everything. I think I sent you one of Cleopatra.
You want to see that one?
Yeah. I mean, talk about the king of delusion, the queen of the Nile.
But before we go to Cleopatra, let's it's in this link that you sent me. But so in paradise, you got a black leopard.
Yeah.
And a little nice hottie. She's a hot babe, right? With the black hair. And look at the guy's a stud.
Now look at this.
Look at the polo shirt. The polo.
Look at that polo shirt. And I'm not trying to be psychosexual. Remember, like in Seinfeld, we always talk about Seinfeld, and Kramer was a psychosexual.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to be psychosexual, but I noticed there's a lot of sexual in the Jehovah's Witnesses artwork. Like, look at this sister. Is she hot? Would you date this sister?
I mean,
Now-
yeah. I mean, yeah. That gives you that. Go ahead.
Now, I know, like, I think that the Mexican girls are the prettiest girls on the planet. I used to think that way, and I was corrected, the Latina girls. And I know you think that maybe the Scandinavian type, the northern, like the Canada and the 51 states are that pretty. But look in the Jehovah's Witnesses, all the girls are super hot. I mean, look at her waist.
And
And
yeah,
then
over
look
here.
at her boobies and everything.
Yeah. See, they're doing it over here too with AI.
You don't see no fat girls over there in the Jehovah's organization. You don't see no heavy girls. You don't see no blemish. You don't even see one wrinkle. And then look in the back. Look in the back of the mountains. Look in the back of the mountains. I don't mean to be psychosexual, but doesn't that look like Twin Peaks, like laying down?
Yeah. So you're saying that could, yeah.
That's a subliminal message.
And who are these two guys right here? Yeah. Two old guys. Are they like, who knows? But you look at this guy and look at the polo shirt. You can clearly tell it's a polo shirt.
Yeah, it's a polo shirt.
So he's violating. So is Polo getting royalties in the new system?
Trademark infringement. I don't know. I didn't know there was going to be trademarks in the new system.
Wow.
But check out this cat. Now, first of all, she's in the now she's wearing nice shoes. And I don't mean to be psychosexual and checking out women's feet and everything, but I was checking out his shoes too. But does a girl normally, when she goes out into the woods, does she wear pumps? Because you're going to stab it into the grass, huh? It's going to be hard to walk. You would have hiking boots or something like that. Because look at that cat. Imagine if you had to run and nature kicked in and he was going to eat you guys. Wouldn't you have to be able to run?
Wow.
And then of all the colors that they could have picked, why did they pick up a black cat?
Yeah.
Isn't a black cat superstitious?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now this is imagining today. So
hey, Lisa's here. You want to say hi?
Yeah.
Hi.
Hi.
Hey, this guy's checking out the The Bible study. Look at he's checking her out.
Say hello, Lisa.
Hey Lisa, how you doing?
Hey.
Yeah.
Oh,
So,
look at his eyes. He's staring at her. Yeah. He's like, man, I wish he takes this Bible study.
Yeah, then I can she can be game.
Yeah.
now check this out. Remember I told you that Toni Morris is gone? What was
Yeah.
the one thing that Toni Morris hated?
Skinny
Tight
pants.
pants.
Yes. And see, the spirit that's taken over the Watchtower, all the guys have metrosexual pants.
Let's see.
Nobody has, like, you used to call it what, J.C. Penney suits?
Is that a tight pant? Kinda.
No, I don't think that's called tight pants.
That's tight
That
pants.
would be a tight pant suit. Yeah.
Now check this out. Imagine Paradise. Is this delusional or what?
Gilbert, these people have gone off the deep end.
Mm-hmm.
So this sister, she types in Paradise Imagination, and this is what she envisions. This is why I say they're delusional. They really are deaf and dumb.
Mm-hmm.
She thinks she's going to study the Bible with Cleopatra,
Mm-hmm.
the Queen of the Nile.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, I always thought Cleopatra was black. Here she's like Latina, like on Snow White.
Mm-hmm.
It's racist.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
And then she didn't even have the decency to order a cup of coffee for Cleopatra. I mean, listen, you came 3,500 years into the future. That at least get her some Folgers coffee crystals.
Wow, that's a good picture of Cleopatra, though. When you think about it,
Yeah,
mean,
I had
they
no
did her, they
idea.
did her. They did good on this, at least on the picture. You know, 'cause
I didn't
usually-
know I didn't know Cleopatra was that beautiful. I
because
didn't know.
the reason I say that because in AI, these images of faces, it's really not that sharp.
Gilbert,
and-
if we were Johnny Carson, what would we say?
Mhm.
I did not know that. I did not.
Well, check this out. Remember how you mentioned about the Twin Peaks?
Yeah, the Twin Peaks. Another one. Where is the Twin Peaks? Where is it at?
We don't have Twin Peaks here.
No, there's no Twin Peaks.
What do we have?
Phallic. All the trees are happy.
We got Cleopatra with happy trees. Happy tree, happy tree, happy tree, happy tree. 6 happy trees.
And look, Jehovah's supposedly they had a progressive organization, right?
Yeah.
But look at this. Look at in Paradise Earth. Look what they're showing up in the sky. Not a single damn chemtrail.
Mm-hmm.
You think if they're going to be a progressive organization, at least put the. That's not what clouds look like. Clouds are in straight line.
Mm-hmm. So let's go back. No clouds here. Well, hold on. There might be that might be
Wait.
kind of.
We got 2 chemtrails right there.
Okay. Let me check the other one that you sent me. Here it is. Because you mentioned what are they called? Twin Peaks. So on this one, just birds.
Yeah.
Is there anything? Is there any psychosexual? Hold on, there's
No.
the coffee again. Whose cup of coffee is it?
Well, not only that, look
Just
at the 2 horns on top of that green cup.
Yeah.
Why are they shaped like a horn? Look like a goat head with the 2 eyes and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like eyes wide shut.
Yeah, I'm looking for those subliminal images, man. Yeah.
Wait. Is there a truck behind that barn?
No. Oh, it's kind of hard to make out, but where are their wives? Who knows? And then this one was really weird. You had the Jehovah's Witnesses in the back,
Yeah, they're going on field service.
and then they didn't change the picture to put Bible there.
No, they do that in all theirs.
Yeah, but they should have put Bible. But
And what's up with all the witnesses? They don't comb their hair. They're all scraggly.
is that what it is?
Do you remember when we would give a part? If we gave a part in the assembly and there was one hair out of place, they would throw your ass down. Now the scragglier you are, yeah. Now, do you have the other set I sent you, the first set? Because I sent you 3 sets.
No, I only got 2.
Oh.
And but let me go here. You did send me this. Present, share screen. So
Yeah, what's up with that? They're making it look like, so a guy goes up to a Jehovah's Witness sister in school, and she's making it look like it's the. Remember what was that the other day? That girl in Snow White. She called the prince on Snow White a stalker.
yeah.
So the Jehovah's Witnesses are like that. The new Snow White, the Latina Snow White. Any guy goes up to a girl now. Look at that.
Mm-hmm. Wow. And check this out right there. This girl's with the dog and the sea turtle posing in the
See right there where it says see all photos, that's how they do it. Paradise Imagination. They send it into the sister and then they do, yeah.
And she's giving her a tract of Jesus
to the memorial invitation.
And again, she has a perfect waistline, perfect breasts. Always, everything's perfect. These guys are perfect. And then this girl showing a little cleavage with the dog.
And even the way she stands with her feet, they're perfect.
And but Jesse, is this, they put a raccoon with this black couple? Of all of the animals they could have put there.
A raccoon. Tell me that's not racist. Subliminal racism.
Subliminal racism. And then look at, they're trying to get the Chinese guy there.
And they put a dog with a woman. Tell me, is that not misogynistic? They could have put a cat, because everybody knows that women are cat people.
And
they
look at
have
this.
to put a dog. Yeah.
So you have this couple here. This woman would rather have a dog than a husband, and this one too. And they don't have children. And look where they live. They live in one of those Mongolian huts.
And look at the black girl in the park bench. They couldn't even give her pumps like everybody else. They had this girl in the Amazon rainforest, and she was wearing pumps. But this poor girl waiting on the park bench, they have to give her tennis shoes. They can't even give her shoes.
So see what they're doing right here with the pictures? This is the picture of your grandma, grandpa, or your older people. These are all old Jehovah's Witnesses, reimagining them in the new system. That's what it is.
Yeah.
So that sister probably died and didn't get married and have kids. So that's why she has a sea turtle and a dog. And then Kingdom Hall. Now, did you notice that there's 2 people at the door because they're wondering if Zeb or Gilbert's going to crash the Kingdom Hall? So
and another thing is, since when do they have windows in the doors?
Yeah.
Glass. I don't see that. Yeah.
And a Kingdom Hall in a residential area. Wow. Okay, so let's go on the next one. Was there? I don't know if I think there was just 2. So let me see. Bambi.
Okay. We should be able to find some subliminal messages on this one. Now, does it say the Bible, or can you tell?
No, it doesn't say Bible.
Could it be?
It looks like Bible, yeah.
You know what I think it is?
On the wrong side, but go ahead.
I think it's Judge Rutherford's children book.
See, and notice how the sheep. You notice something about the sheep? Look at his hair.
Yeah, real thin cut.
It's perfectly groomed.
Mm-hmm.
Not one knot on the hair. Never seen that.
And
you know where you only see that? In Saudi Arabia, where they groom they comb their sheep daily.
And then check it out. She's got her Bible down there, so she does have a a Watchtower publication.
Hmm. Wow. Look. So this guy's out in field service too, and they have the 5 o'clock shadow, but this guy doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
And they have a tablet. Okay, but they're not in paradise, but that's fine. So let's go here. Yeah.
Okay. Wow. When I saw this picture, I was so saddened because they are delusional.
It's a silverback gorilla.
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
And then there's another silverback gorilla there.
Mhm.
And I don't know if these brothers are playing dodgeball with him or what, because look at the way he's coming at him.
Yeah.
And then the other, so it could be a dodgeball game they're playing because they're not basketball. It can't be basketball. Now it's a basketball, so I'm thinking it's a dodgeball. They're playing dodgeball with silverback gorillas in the paradise. Now, but look at King Kong here. Doesn't he look like he's hungry?
Yeah.
Would you let your children around? Look at that face.
Mhm. Wow.
Yeah.
So, man, Jesse, talk about delusional. So let's go here to share screen. We got one more screen to share. Come join me in paradise, enjoying our first picnic together. Edwina Garcia says, and she quotes Luke 23, and he said to him, truly I tell you today, you will be with me in paradise. So this is the Jehovah's Witness
Idea.
idea of imagining paradise on Facebook.
Is that a panda or a lion right there that he's holding?
Or a different creature, but you know what they don't show?
Huh.
That big turd that elephant dropped.
Yeah. Maybe in the new system there's no turd.
And this guy has a 5 o'clock shadow too.
Mm-hmm. All the Jehovah's Witnesses have 5 o'clock shadow now.
Mm-hmm.
And Tony the tiger, he's thinking I'm having dessert.
Hmm. That is crazy. The earth will soon be filled with the knowledge of Jehovah, according to Loyal Servants of Jehovah public group on Facebook. This is their imagining paradise, and this person lives in a tree house.
A tree house. Yeah.
Wow. Now, what's up with this?
You're going to see this all over Facebook, all over. This is what I was saying. They've changed religion. They're dumb now. That deaf and dumb, the scripture that you were talking about, this is what the Jehovah's Witnesses are. They're about sharing photos. They're, and look at, they're all in beautiful shape. You don't see not one ugly Jehovah's Witness no more. And I'm sure, let's say, I don't know where that is, but let's say it's in Mexico, or let's say it's in the Central America. There's got to be some ugly sisters they could put in this picture.
And if it was a Christian group, guess what everybody would have? A cross. But these people are promoting a religion, and instead of wearing a cross, they all have JW.org as the emblem. So wearing a cross, bad. Wearing a JW.org, good.
Gilbert,
So,
and I didn't mean to go psychosexual on you, like in that Seinfeld episode, but I'm really seeing this with the Jehovah's Witness. It's all about dating. It's all about hooking up with your friend's girlfriend. Like that guy, that guy, he likes one of those girls. This is how you meet girls, but it's more of a social club than it is a religion.
Okay, Jesse,
Uh-huh.
the guy on the right, it's here on the picture, right? On the right picture. Look at his, where does his hand go?
It's over one girl, but he's over two girls.
This guy, Jesse, this guy, he's double dipping. We have a guy who's double dipping on this picture.
Yeah.
I got to give it to the guy on the left. You know, he's just sticking with one, right?
And not only that,
Mhm.
look at their ties.
Bow ties, yeah.
Mhm.
He's double dipping, man. And
Yeah.
yeah, what it is, it's a dating scene.
It's a dating religion.
And all the while they're criticizing all of the Christians for wearing their crosses, they go and have that.
Mm-hmm. Jehovah has become a dating app with these people now.
And would the word mandilon be the headline? Mandilon.
Mandilon.
See, in for those of you who don't speak Spanish, mandilon would be an apron. But you also call a mandilon is a man who always wears an apron in the house because the wife wears the pants. So here we have a Jehovah's Witness sharing friends, and they all have the mandilon.
Yep.
So
Okay.
if I was going to be there and take a picture with these lovely young ladies, I would not have a mandilon. I would be like, I am the alpha.
No.
in this-
A mandil. Now, if you put the on is a masculine, mandilon. That
Mhm.
means it's a masculine form of a mandil.
So I think it would be proper for a guy like say me. I would go there, and I would take off I would not wear one, and that would be saying, these are my 4 women, right? You be man, you just be male. But these guys, they're quasi what they're effeminate.
And they're selling the JW.org brand. They're selling it all over. In other words, they're not spreading the good news of Jesus Christ. They're not spreading it no more. They're just selling the JW.org.
And I can't really. Oh, there it is. Because it keeps doing that. So Sam, one of those guys is maybe Samuel Augustine.
Mhm.
He puts down the best life ever.
Yeah. They all do. The best life ever. That's what they preach.
Mhm.
They really believe it. That's why I'm saying they're all delusional. They're all got into the Bible verse that you said. A
Mhm.
stupid spirit has taken over the watchtower. It's real sad.
Mhm. Wow.
Well, that's it, Gilbert. That's what I wanted to
That's-
share those photos. And that's just scratching the surface. It's everywhere. Everybody, all the Jehovah's Witnesses like that. That's all it is. They're the most superficial organization on the planet. It's all about taking photos. It's all about,
Mhm.
yeah.
So that's Mark 9.
This is the reason I think they got rid of Anthony Morris. Now, there's other reasons. But Anthony Morris was probably standing up against this type of behavior. A feminized version of men, a social media, a 700 Club style religion.
Mhm.
And so since he's gone, this spirit has become more prevalent in the Watchtower organization,
Yeah.
the dumb and deaf.
And suddenly we have a contender. My mother-in-law is part silverback gorilla. Oh my.
Wow.
Oh, look, an elephant. It's my obese father-in-law. The whole family is here.
Wow.
Yeah, we will have after this a therapy session. But it was better to have that in private.
Yeah.
Wow. Someone, yeah.
Okay, Gilbert, that was it. That's all
Okay,
the photos I got.
All right, that was a good show. So that's why it is the dumb spirit. So whenever you see these Jehovah's Witnesses standing in a corner, not talking to anybody, and not, they've been taken over by Stephen Lett and the spirit that controls these people. Yeah, the deaf and dumb spirit.
Yeah.
So all right,
All right.
see you.
See you later.
Okay, guys.